Hi, it's Miss Capri. If anybody's been watching my videos that I've been putting out over this summer, you will no doubt know what my position is on Hillary Clinton and why I'm glad she did not win. You'll also find out pretty quickly why I think that she and her supporters deserve to lose, because that is a victory for people who are sick and tired of social vengeance warriors and their cry bullying. But bullies don't lose gracefully. They don't just give up and go, oh, okay, sorry, we were wrong. We mugged up. They don't do that. They just get uglier and tell more and more lies. They insist on just bullying right to their last breath, practically. And this is what Hillary supporters have been doing with this stupid, gigantic left wing chain letter going around now, which is accusing anybody who is not touting left wing media sources as fake news. CNN and the mainstream media, which I am going to start calling shamestream media, because that's what they tried doing, shaming everybody into voting for Hillary, and they are continuing to try and shame everybody into wishing that they hadn't voted for Trump or something. Now, they were doing all they could to try and get people to vote for Hillary. And they lost because society said, we had enough of you cry bullies. We're not buying into this crap anymore. We're sick of your stupid pandering to Black Lives Matter and feminists. Women and blacks don't want to be touted as victims anymore. We're sick of people infantilizing us. We don't like the modern day KKK, which is Black Lives Matter. We're sick of it, and we're sick of people like Hillary continuing to support these movements and these social vengeance warrior types. So, what do these people do when they lose? They throw fits. They beat people up. They abuse their kids. It's just absolutely horrendous. And then, with all this happening, we see how these Hillary supporters totally went to pieces when they lost. We've seen that. But yet, the liberal media is still trying to convince everybody that Breitbart and InfoWars and anybody who is not spewing out left-wing news is fake news. That is the great big left-wing meme chain letter going around, and it needs to be smashed down hard. But having said all that, Hillary Clinton has joined that chain letter bandwagon, and she is perpetuating this chain letter as well. She has tried to be trendy in the past. Somebody once asked her about if she wanted to be like Beyonce, and she said yes, she'd want to be as popular as Beyonce. So I can't exactly fault her for that, because somebody actually asked her that question. It didn't just pop into her head. There's another instance where, and I'm not sure whether she came up with this joke or whether somebody in her campaign told her, maybe you should put this joke out there and you'll look trendy. I don't know. But do you remember that Pokemon Go joke, where she said something about Pokemon Go to the polls? Cringeworthy, or what? She just isn't trendy. She can't do trendy. She's hopeless at it. But she's still trying. And her latest effort is to get on the big left-wing bandwagon, along with Twitter and Google and Facebook, and talk about fake news. Of course, they aren't talking about CNN when they're talking about fake news. They're just accusing Breitbart and InfoWars and anybody who is not Huffington Post or CNN or any of the left-wing, anybody who is not in agreement with those propagandists. They're being labeled by Hillary and her supporters as fake news. So, I have a smash video for you. Somebody has smashed this chain letter down really hard and done a pretty good job of it. So I'm going to post it now.
Out and joining the chorus of mainstream media in their assault against independent and alternative news sources in the witch hunt of supposed fake news.
The epidemic of malicious fake news and false propaganda that flooded social media over the past year, it's now clear that So-called fake news can have real-world consequences.
The mainstream media spreading false news caused your supporters to have a false sense of security, which literally put them in tears after Donald Trump thankfully defeated you.
This isn't about politics or partisanship.
It's about censorship, isn't it? This witch hunt against supposed fake news is a desperate and obvious attempt by the mainstream media to try to shut down all the independent alternative news agencies and prevent themselves from going bankrupt because nobody's watching, nobody's reading you, nobody believes you.
Lives are at risk. Lives of ordinary people just trying to go about their days to do their jobs.
Yeah, I agree. Police officers' lives are at risk, and ordinary citizens' lives are at risk, and people are in danger because of the fake news that's spread by the liberal media every time an armed thug gets put down by police for refusing to follow orders or trying to attack and kill them. Let's not forget that Hands Up, Don't Shoot was labeled the biggest lie of 2015, the original mantra of the Black Lives Matter movement when it started after the Ferguson incident with Michael Brown, the 6'4", 300-pound thug that robbed a convenience store before assaulting the police officer and trying to steal his weapon, causing the officer to draw on him and put him down.
It's a danger that must be addressed, and addressed quickly.
We are addressing it. That's why the alternative media is surging. And that's why mainstream media like the New York Times lost $14 million just in the first 3 months of this year.
Bipartisan legislation is making its way through Congress to boost the government's response to foreign propaganda, and Silicon Valley is starting to grapple with the challenge and threat of fake news.
What she means by Silicon Valley, of course, is that Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all other social media services, Google, etc., are trying to stop messages from people like me from spreading through these social media services. One of the first mainstream news articles denouncing this supposed fake news phenomenon was this article from the Washington Post, which of course tried to tie in the Russian government to the supposed fake news, and they now have been threatened by one of the news websites that they claimed was a fake news website, and they added this lengthy editor's note which pretty much admits that their article is fake. So yes, the Washington Post's article warning about fake news is in fact fake, and prop or not is fake. Speaking of fake news about the election, look at this poll that the Huffington Post, the Huffing Paint Post, the Huffing Compost pile put out before the election that says that their pollsters give Hillary Clinton a 98.1% chance of winning the presidency. When I first saw this, a screenshot of this tweet, I thought that it was fake, I thought it was satire, but it's real. This is the actual tweet from the actual Huffing Compost pile Twitter account. They still have it up. Talk about fake news.
It's imperative that leaders in both the private sector and the public sector step up to protect our democracy and innocent lives.
We are taking action. That's why Donald Trump has been elected. Donald Trump will institute law and order finally and stamp down these angry mobs of rioters and looters that spread disinformation and lies and real fake news about what happens when police officers...
Well said. Sorry about the cutoff there. I didn't mean to cut off quite that much, but I don't feel like doing it over again. So anyway, that was... You basically got it. I mean, he debunked the whole thing there. So that's really good. Yeah, I really hope that people don't buy into this whole fake news hysteria, because that's what it is. It's a left-wing hysterical chain letter is what it is. And it's really a shame that Google and Twitter and Facebook are actually buying into this crap. They're supposed to be social media where people are supposed to be able to express themselves. And if chain letters are supposed to be against the terms of service, then they should be banning BuzzFeed and Huffington as well, because those are great big chain letter mill sites. And certainly fake news, because they are so slanted, it's ridiculous. They're no less slanted than Breitbart or InfoWars would be. And in fact, they're more so, because it's not Breitbart and InfoWars that's going around calling everybody racist for voting for a certain person. That is CNN, BuzzFeed, Huffington, and all those other BLM and feminist supporting rags. Those things are fake news. So maybe fake news caused Hillary to lose, perhaps? Yes, CNN and NBC. The audience got sick of it. He's right. The audience got sick of it and said enough. We're sick of all this bullying and all this race mongering. And the people finally got tired of it. They saw these sleazy news outfits for what they really are, left-wing propagandists. Propaganda doesn't just come from one source or one particular side. It comes from all political sides. The left is certainly guilty of propaganda. Hillary might not want to think so, but she's one of the worst propagators of this bullcrap. I mean, her conspiracy theory that says the alt-right is working with Putin. Now, how ridiculous is that? Yes, I've actually heard her say that. You know, that one of my videos where I reposted a smash down of that particular speech where she actually said that. So, yeah, it was right there. Yeah, there is no big alt-right thing. That's just left-wing hysteria. It's a huge left-wing chain letter. It's like when Obama got in and everybody was nuts over the birther thing, and there were so many birther chain emails. Well, this is no different than that. What's going on now, what the left is doing now, is what the far right did when Obama was president. Only it's not birtherism now, it's fake news. That is this big conspiracy that the left-wing chain letter is talking about now. And this stupid meme, it just needs to die. People need to mock it and laugh at it, and it just needs to die in a fire. And Hillary needs to shut her mouth for once. And realize that she lost because she was on the wrong side of things. I've mentioned that in the beginning of my video already. I mentioned why she lost. I know Trump is not one of my favorite people. I like him a whole lot better as a politician. He sounds much better now than he ever did before. I was never a fan of his, but I think being in politics may smooth out some edges a bit, and he may become a much nicer person for it. But Hillary, no, she's gone the other way. She's, yeah. She really should accept defeat gratefully, but she can't. You know, she couldn't even give the concession speech on the night that she lost. That had to wait until later the next day, or that morning. And I think it's because they probably didn't have a speech prepared for her. I don't know if the stories are true that she cried all night. I don't know if the stories are true that she had a drunken rage. I know that's going around. And of course, Snopes doesn't want to believe it. They just unproven or false or whatever, you know, and Truth or Fiction even says unproven. They don't want to believe it. I'm not going to discount it. I'm not going to totally believe it because I wasn't there. But it's possible. But something stopped her from making the concession speech right away. Something stopped her, and I think probably it was because they were counting on winning, and they were totally unprepared for a loss. And the media was to blame for that, too. Because the media was trying so hard. They had their heads so far up Hillary's butt, it was pathetic. They just were so busy trying to trot out every stupid and dishonest piece of dirt on Trump they could come up with. And even now, they're still trying to. CNN is really disgusting for this. They're still trying to portray Trump as this racist or sexist demon or something, you know. And they're just grasping at straws, trying to vilify him now. And try to say anything about Hillary that she's not an angel, and they just want to sweep it under the rug. Stop it. Shut. You know, they just shut. Don't talk about it. They just don't want to hear it. They don't want to broadcast it. They don't want to hear a thing about Hillary that could, show that she's no angel. But Trump, oh no, they could vilify him all day long as a racist. That's all they want to do. And stations that do that deserve to lose all of their audience and all of their ratings. They deserve to go under completely. So, yes, fake news, CNN, BuzzFeed, and on. They helped Hillary lose the election. And people like Zarna Joshi and Annalise Nielsen also helped her lose the election because the public can see these people for what they are. And we're saying if Hillary wins, these people will get a free rein to tromp all over society, even more than they've been already doing under Obama. And gosh, that's scary. We don't want that happening. We don't want to be ruled by a mob of overgrown, spoiled brats, racist, sexist, spoiled brats that try to bully everybody else into their way or else. Society's had enough. Hillary, you lost because it's your own fault. Deal with it. Suck it up. Grow up. That's all for now.